Alrighty, well, let's try this again, shall we? Obviously, hello everybody. This is Jimmy here back at you with another episode of Combat and Cryptids. So I've had a little bit of a hiatus. Number one, my laptop took a crap. It wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. I deleted drivers, did all these things, and nothing seemed to work. But I finally got it fixed today, and I've had a lot of stuff going on too as well. So it was kind of good to have like a little break, I guess, And obviously, you got me and my wait, which hand is it? This hand, my two little homies over here. You know what I mean? Obviously, Halloween is coming up. October is always a good time, so we go all out. And when I mean all out, we go all out for Halloween. I'm talking everything is scary, everything is creepy. It's all about. But we have so much stuff that we have to start setting all this stuff up like now for it to be out for October. So it's fun. I mean, me and my wife, we enjoy doing these things. We enjoy trying to find these things at like Home Depot and stuff like that. So it really is fun. But I'm glad to be back. Glad to be recording, and glad to be back here with you guys. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So I don't know how it's like it's one of those late night. Oh, one more thing before I get to it. So my daughter, Kensley, I don't even know where it is. She made me a slime, and it was supposed to be a combat encrypted slime. So it has my sticker on it, and it's like a greenish color, I guess you could say. But she wanted me to give her a shout out for that. Thank you, Kensley. I do appreciate the slime, even though I don't get to use it, but I guess it's got the advertisement on her jar at least. But figured I'd hit that up before we did everything like that. So today's episode, I don't know how I got deep into this rabbit hole, but I always like the Native American like tales and like stories and the creepy shit, and it's just this stuff that just I don't know, the things that just like I don't know, they're just not explainable. Like, but people talk about them all the time. So today's episode is going to be about 18 spooky Native American monsters that will keep you awake at night. And this was written by Steve of 2018. Man, without further ado, every single civilization and society on Earth has enjoyed an array of mythical creatures, many of which take the form of scary monsters. Whether designed to frighten or entertain children to impart an important cautionary moral lesson through metaphor and allegory, or manufactured from genuine fear. Native Americans are no exception to the universal culture phenomenon. Here are the 18 monsters that terrified Native Americans and will keep you awake at night. A cursed former tribe member, the Flying Head, seeks vengeance for the murder of elders. The Flying Head, also known as Big Head, or I don't even know how to even say that, is a cannibalistic monster belonging to the mythologies of... Where the heck did my kid go? See, this is why I don't let her outside, because she never stays where she's supposed to, or where I can see her, because then freak out. It's like we live on a cul-de-sac, but it's still... 1 second. Oh, she's literally all the way up in our driveway. So that's why I could not see her. Alright. Anyways, aside from that, it's always weirdos out here. So the Flying Head is a cannibalistic monster belonging to the mythologies of Iroquois and Wyandot people of North America, appearing as an antagonist in numerous stories and legends. According to native folklore, during an especially severe winter prior to European arrival, an unknown tribe in New York State was suffering a famine. The young men wished to move the tribe across a great lake to seek new opportunities, whilst the older men, believing the famine was punishment for their crimes by the spirits, desired to stay and endure. Enraged by the old men's stubbornness, the young men killed them, decapitating their bodies and dropping their heads into the lake. However, Did that just lag me out? Are you kidding me, man? What the fuck is going on with this goddamn damn laptop? It's still recording, so I hope it didn't mess it up too much, but probably gonna be a little bit of a lag there for some reason. So, anyways, back to where the decapitating the body and dropping their heads into the lake. However, one of the young men involved in the massacre became entangled in the pile of heads, falling into the lake and drowning. From the lake arose a giant head taller than a man, coated in thick black hair, possessing wings and talons, which would perpetually hunt and haunt the tribe. After destroying those responsible for the murders, the flying head began terrorizing other tribes, during which time the Iroquois faced the demon after being plagued for many years by the monster. Including a famous folktale in which a young hunter's dog sacrificed themselves to save their master from a beast. A woman roasting acorns was visited by the creature. Believing she was eating live coals, the flying head grew terrified at the strength of the Iroquois people and fled to never return. The hill where the unknown tribe's village was located is widely considered cursed by native people. 3 hotels have been built on this sacred site in modern times, and each one suffered a short and unsuccessful lifespan before mysteriously burning the ground, naturally reinforcing the superstition. So we always think, I would say probably the majority of like modern day America has to be built on some of these things. Like even when, like where we work and stuff like that, there's always these weird things that happen. And we always, the joke that we always play is our plant was built on like an Indian burial ground. That's why all the weird shit happens. Like at 1:30, it's like the witching hour. It's like you better have all your shit in a row. You better have all your ducks lined up, because after that is like when the chaos ensues, like right before the end of the day. So I could see that happening. It's a little weird, but I could see it happen. The Lechuza is a race of monstrous owl women. Owl women. Geez, not only are women terrifying, but owls are too when you put them both together. Who hunt humans, especially children. That's so messed up. The big owl, also known as Lechuza, is a mythological race of cannibalistic owl women. According to the folklore of the Yakama people, the inhabitants of modern-day Washington state, the Lechuza live in caves and hunt the people of nearby tribes, preferring the taste of children. Considered among the most dangerous human predators, they were believed to be progenitors of the entire owl species. Themselves a spiritual symbol of death throughout Native American communities, it is believed after a Lechuza drowned, her eye was used to spawn all of the lesser owls, having spread in legend to the southern Texas and Mexico recent years, have seen reports of an owl-like monster called Le Lechuza in relation to unexplained deaths and sinister occurrences in the region. The Lechuza is reflected in the folklore of numerous other native tribes, including the Seminole Stikini and Wabanaki. The Stikini are believed to be evil witches with the power to transform themselves into owl-like creatures. During the daytime, they walk among the Seminole people, but at night they vomit their souls and become undead owl monsters that feast upon human hearts. Among some communities, it is feared even speaking the name risks turning yourself into one, whilst others use the Stikini as children's boogeyman. Similarly, the Siplak is a dangerous bird spirit possessing a spectral cry and taking the form of a large owl, with only its head and talons visible to the human eye. As with some Seminole communities, the Siplak have typically been used as the Wabanaki in children's folk tales. The flathead lake monster is an enormous aquatic animal that allegedly resides in Montana. The flathead lake monster, originating from Kootenai traditions, is a creature that supposedly dwells in Flat Lake, Montana. The creature is typically described as an enormous eel-shaped animal with a body akin to that of a snake, measuring between 20 to 40 feet in length, blue-black skin, and gray-black eyes. According to the tribe's legend, the first inhabitants of the region lived on an island in the middle of the Flathead Lake. On one winter day, whilst crossing the frozen lake, two girls saw antlers sticking through the ice, and believing they belonged to a drowned animal, decided to cut them off. After cutting into the 2 feet long antlers, the ice split open to reveal the monster, the awakening of whom caused the drowning of the half residents of the lake. This explanation is often provided in folklore for the small number of Kootenai people. Similar to the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland, modern reports of the Flathead Lake Monster are abundant in the local area, including a claim in 1889 by Captain James Kerr, 13 such reports in 1993, an alleged rescue of a 3-year-old drowning boy by the monster. The creature was taken sufficiently seriously that in the 1950s, a significant reward was offered for the capture of the superfish. But despite the numerous efforts, no form of evidence of existence have ever been recovered. And I will take a break. One quick second. 1 minute. Boom. Not even a minute. Do 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 do. Kensley. Come inside for a little bit till I get done recording this. Then you can go back outside, okay? All right. I just had to have that kid come in. Besides me worrying about some fucking weirdo coming up in my backyard or something like that. But yeah. So the Loch Ness Monster style person. Okay. All right. That's cool. The Taihan were a race of dwarves who preyed on native tribes living on the plains of Wyoming and Colorado. I'm not even going to say the Tai. I'm just going to call it the Tai. The Tai, deriving from Arapaho words strong, are a race of cannibalistic dwarves with allegedly superhuman strength. Although descriptions vary, the Tai are generally depicted as the size of children with dark skin and said to have an extremely aggressive and unsociable disposition. According to some legends, they possess the ability to become invisible, whilst others contended they merely seem so due to the incredible speed which they were caught their adult prey. Within native folklore, it is widely agreed that the Tai were destroyed in an ancient conflict in which the Europas and other Native American tribes allied to successfully defeat them. A unique aspect of their character is suggested in some tales that the Tai have the ability to remove their hearts and store them for safekeeping, in so doing protecting themselves from physical harm to their persons. One such prominent story with native folklore tells of a warrior captured by the Tai, and who, to delay his death, asked his dim-witted captors about the macabre organs adoring their residence. Upon learning their true nature, the warrior stabs each of their hearts, killing each member of the Tai family and winning his freedom. Jesus Christ. That's so insane. It's a little weird to me, but some of these they're just like weird off the wall stuff. Like, but they're enough to just be like, to make you like think like there's something that's just weird how like these tribes and stuff, like it had to have been talked about up to this point. Obviously, if somebody wrote about it in 2018, like it has to. That's so weird. The Camazotz was a Maya god worshipped by pregnant women but feared by all others. The Camazotz, or death bat, is a god in Maya mythology, with a bat in general associated with darkness, night, and death throughout the native culture. Depicted as an anthropomorphic creature with the body of a human but head of the wings of a bat, the Camazotz was worshipped by a minority of Maya, notable by pregnant women who might offer sacrifices to ensure a healthy baby. Pregnant women are recorded as venturing to the cave in Veracruz, Mexico, to make offerings to the Camazotz. It was also believed by South American Arawaks that the Camazotz was a predatory hunter targeting villagers who wandered with ill purpose at nighttime. In the Popol Vuh, a creation narrative spread via oral tradition by the Quiche people preceding the Spanish conquest of Mesoamerica. The Camazotz are monsters encountered by the Maya hero twins, forced to spend a night at the House of Bats. The twin size the twins squeeze themselves into their blowguns for protection. However, one of the twins, Hunapah, grew impatient and sought to see the sun had arisen. Sticking his head out, the Camazotz decapitated him, and the other gods used his head in a ball game. Other legendary stories, including the Camazotz, involve the creatures serving in a role similar to the Charon, or Charon, the boatman of Greek mythology, where Camazotz resides upon a bridge between the heavens and the underworld, and acts as a powerful sentry or guardian. Dear Lord, is that how that game got invented? I don't know if you've ever been to, Mexico. They have these cool ass ruins that are there, and the ruins basically, it's so intricate on how everything was set up, like that whole Mayan tradition and everything like that. But they would have these. It was almost like soccer, but you couldn't use your hands, and you didn't kick it normally like that. It was like a bouncing back and forth. But they would use the heads of like enemies and stuff like that to play this game. And it was and the people who, I think the teams that lost or something like that, like they died or something. I don't know. It was pretty crazy. But each stone that was placed out there each stone for the wall had a head in it. And it had the depiction of what the person kind of looked like in there. So it was so creepy. Like it really was. And then after we had that big tour and everything like that, then it started like thunderstorming and shit. It was very weird. Very, very weird. But definitely a little suspicious, that's for sure. The Agapoga is an ancient water demon who resides of Lake Okanagan and demands a sacrifice of blood to cross in peace. Also known as the Naitaki, translated as water demon, is a lake monster who, according to Canadian folklore, Canadian, look at that, not many Canada stuff, lives in the Okanagan Lake, British Columbia. Most commonly described as measuring between 40 to 50 feet in length, the sea serpent resembles the extinct Mosasaurus, a carnivorous aquatic lizard from Cretaceous period. As with the flathead lake monster, numerous sightings have been claimed in recent decades, including a Okanagan Mission Beach in 1946 and on film in 1968. Although subsequent video analysis proved the creature to have been a mere waterfowl or a beaver. According to the legend of the First Nations, the Akapoga would demand a troll from travelers in exchange for safe passage near its home in Rattlesnake Island, using his tail to create a mighty storm for those who refused and leave the shoreline strewn with the remains of those who sought to cheat him. The toll required that the Akapoga was that of life, and so when natives ventured into the lake, they often brought small animals, such as chickens, to drown in the lake and appease the monster. In local legend, Tim Basket, a visiting chef from a neighboring tribe, declared his disbelief in the existence, scorning the sacrifices of his guests to the demon. As he returned across the lake, Tim Basket refused, and his canoe was sucked under, killing himself. Why does it do this? This is going to piss me off. Oh my god. Well, the voice is recording, but the video is frozen. So let's see if we do this. There we go. Maybe that'll do the trick. I don't know. Maybe minimizing it, I guess. I don't know. But most people aren't here to watch the video, I guess. I mean, for the first part of it is, but most of it's just audio recording, so you don't really need it. But it is nice to have. All right. So, and oh my god. So, killing himself and the entire family. Local history also tales of non-Indians who ignore warnings, notably a settler in 1854 called John McDougall. Whilst crossing with his team of horses, McDougall's canoe began to be dragged below the water, Remembering the vice of natives, McDougal cut the ropes holding the horse on board. The horses were pulled under and drowned, but McDougal survived. Gotta give a sacrifice. Or maybe it's like a sinkhole, and then once something goes into it, it kind of like plugs it up. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. Who knows? It could be that. Maybe not. The cat, it's a big long word, but I can't say it, was a carnivorous monster of gigantic proportions that terrified several native populations. Also known as the stiff-legged bear, was an enormous man-eating monster with a large head that allegedly preyed on native people throughout eastern North America. Approximately elephant-sized, with the Pinobos Indian of modern-day Maine, detailing the creature's inability to sleep lying down due to its giant, inflexible legs. It is widely assumed that the monster originated from early mastodon remains discovered by natives and incorporated into existing oral histories and mythologies. The cat served, it's the cat shituakshu is what it's really called, but I'm not going to say that 500 times. Serves as a general figure of wider native folklore, with several other tribe cultures retaining belief in similar monsters. The Iroquois people feared the naked bear, great man-eating creatures with the form of a bear but no fur and oversized head. The beast was near invincible to ordinary human attack, and could only be wounded in the soles of their feet, like Achilles. Likewise, the Lenape, Shawan, and Algonquin tribes told legends of the Yakwak, gigantic, stiff-legged, hairless bears comparable to mammoths or mastodons. Whilst among the tales, the Alabama and Coside people existed in huge carnivorous predator known as the Atip Tacoba, described as a bear-like in appearance. Alrighty, well, let's continue on now. I guess we'll just dub both of these clips together. So the next one is the skinwalkers are evil witches with the power to turn into animals and even possess the bodies of other people. A skinwalker, also known as a Yelnaldushi, is a witch who, according to Navajo folklore, has among other powers the ability to turn into and disguise themselves as an animal. The animals mostly commonly associated with skinwalkers are those culturally identified as tricksters, notably the coyote, but can also include their reflective of death and darkness, such as wolves or owls. According to Navajo legend, to become a skinwalker requires the willful murder of a close relative. As such, they both are feared and reviled with the native mythology, representing the antithesis of the supposed cultural ideas of the Navajo and their medicine men, that of healing and helpfulness. Skinwalkers choose to instead manipulate spiritual magic to do evil deeds and perversion against nature. In addition to their powers of physical transformation, skinwalkers can also possess the body of animals and people by locking eyes with them. Shit. Due to their presumed power, skinwalkers are prevalent beings in Navajo folktales. These stories typically take the form of climactic struggles between great persons of the tribe and the witch, although typically for native folklore, not always with an exclusively positive outcome, and often include a didactic message for children to learn from. Many victory stories involving skinwalkers conclude with multiple inhabitants of Hogan, the traditional Navajo dwelling, joining together in a communal strength of wills to scare away the monster and the darkness it brings with it. That's a weird mask. The Bakwas attempt to offer cursed food while Kushtaka seeks to lure sailors to their gruesome deaths. As an innately spiritual culture through the Native American society, there are numerous yet comparable accounts of wide variety of evil supernatural spirits who prey upon tribes. Bakwas, also known as the wild man of the woods, is one of such spirit belonging to Kwakwakwa. people of modern-day British Columbia. Similar to the Haidas and the Tishminis, Bakwas offered ghost food out of cockle shells to humans stranded in woods where drowned souls congregate. If they accept and eat the food offered, then they too become a ghostly being like Bakwas. Equally, Kushtaka or land ottermen are shape-shifting monsters belonging to folklore of the Tlingit people of the Pacific Northwest. Similar to the Natini and the Denai, they're capable of assuming human form as well as that of otters, among other shapes. Typically described in a legend as imitating the screams of women and children. The Kushtaka ensnares the victims, ideally children, and either brutally kills them or converts them into Kushtaka. A minority of native narratives place Kushtaka in more pleasant light, depicting them as saving those dying at sea by turning him into the fellow Kushtaka. It is believed amongst tribe people that Kushtaka can be warded away through copper, dogs, fire, or in some instances, urine. Due to this setting and their creatures' preferred prey, it is widely theorized that the origin of the Kushtaka legend was to encourage young children from wandering too close to the ocean. Maybe. Don't go to the ocean, kids, or you'll get taken. Damn, that picture is creepy as shit, too. I'm going to save these pictures and put them on. Just snap them in random spots, I guess. The Atasai was a giant cannibalistic demon who consumed humans and demons alike and routinely sought to abduct young women. According to the Zuni people of the southwestern United States, Atasai is a cannibalistic giant demon depicted as several times larger than human, with his torso described as being as big as a large elk. The Atasai possesses long gray hair as prickly as porcupine quills, skin so thick the knuckles appeared horned, muscular arms covered in black and white scales, and a swollen red face in which his bulging eyes never blink. A minority of stories also claim the Atasai has long yellow tusks and long talons. An unsavory figure in native mythology, Atasai is regarded as an incorrigible liar in addition to being a cannibal of both humans and its fellow demons. Habitually armed, is routinely depicted with giant flint axe or a flint knife as a man's thigh and twice as long. Appearing through numerous Zuni legends of similar composition, the cannibal demon, the monster deceives two young maidens and lures them back to his lair. The women are rescued by Zuni war gods who slay the demon. In another story, The Rabbit Huntress and Her Adventures, a young woman lost in a blizzard seeks refuge in a cave. Discovered by Atasai, he attempts to break into the cave, but again the war gods rescue the maiden and defeat the monster. The Uktini, the horned water serpent, was a near-invincible crystalline snake with a gemstone in its head. The horned serpent, known as Uktini to the Cherokee people, is a mythological monster that recurs through several native oral histories, especially in the Great Lakes and southeastern woodland regions. Described as being as large as a tree trunk and covered in magical scales with horns and a gemstone on its forehead. The horned serpent could not be harmed except in a single spot on its head. Whilst its breath was poisonous, to slay the monster would win the warrior a crystal of immense power, granting life of successful hunting, rainmaking, and romance. According to the Cherokee legend, a great warrior named Aganotsi achieved this feat, wherein he discovered the crystal required a sacrifice of blood each week. Without the tribute, the crystals search for blood itself, becoming the ball of fire and murdering those it encounters. Jesus Christ. Other variants of the horned serpent include the tie snake, the Muskogee Creek tradition, slightly smaller than the horned serpent and likewise covered with crystalline scales with a large gem in its forehead. The snake was considered a capable of prophecy, and its horns were believed to carry medicinal powers. Unlike the Uktini, the tie snake was not considered to be evil or willfully harmful to humans. Equally, the Alabama people told stories of a crawfish snake of similar design and purpose. In contrast, the traditional Sioux believed claimed that the serpents were dangerous water monsters of the ancient world, but had been destroyed by thunderbirds, supernatural beings of great power, and only their lesser ancestors, such as lizards and snakes, had survived. It is theorized this mythological belief stemmed from the discovery of dinosaur fossils by the Sioux and the Thunderbirds predator skeletons. Jesus. In addition to the Taihan, numerous races of evil dwarves are believed to roam North America. The Nimr are a race of dwarves belonging to Crow and Shoshan legends said to reside the Wind River and Pedro mountain ranges of modern-day Wyoming. Described as an aggressive by nature, they shoot poisoned arrows and kill their own kind should they fall ill with a blow to the head. During his famed expedition, Meriwether Lewis claimed to have seen evidence of the devils, describing them as roughly 18 inches tall and highly ferocious. Although originally believed to have been entirely mythical in 1932, discovery of the San Pedro Mountains mummy, a 14-inch tall mummy, had brought this into question, with tests demonstrating the individual was approximately 65 years old at the time of death and violently killed by an inflicted head wound. Since 1932, several other similar bodies have been recovered across North America, lending credence to a 1778 account suggesting the existence of a pygmy burial ground and of those possible historical existence of people akin to this. Not isolated solely, the Nimr Crow folklore also included the Nirumbi, a race of goblin-like creatures estimated to be between 1 and 2 feet in height. With sharp teeth and little neck, the Nirumbi are considered enemies by the native people. Depicted as often engaging in harmless mischief, the Nirumbi are considered responsible for evil acts such as children abduction and the killing of livestock. Similarly, the Pukwuggies, or persons of the wilderness of Algonquin folklore, are a knee-high race of little people considered by some tribes, including the Ojibwe, to be harmless spirits of the forest. Other tribes, such as Abenaki, believe the Pukwuggies to be dangerous foes with predisposition towards the theft of children and possessing powers similar to those of magical skinwalkers. I've heard of those before. Now this one, they have an animatronic that I want. So the Wendigo. The Wendigo is a supernatural cannibalistic monster believed by several Algonquin tribes, including these 4 people, to reside in the forests of the Atlantic coast and Greater Lakes region of North America, appearing with some human characteristics. According to minority of interpretations, an evil spirit possessing a human into monstrosity, and Wendigo is typically created through human cannibalism or by an individual overcome with avarice and greed. Described as extremely gaunt and emaciated, with grayish skin, sunken eyes, tattered lips, and possessed a deathly odor. Damn, that sounds like me. The Wendigo greedily feeds on human flesh. However, for each person it consumes, the monster grows even larger, so it is always hungry and hunting. As such, the legend is generally associated with stories of insatiable gluttony and gratuitous murder. It is increasingly considered by anthropologists that the Wendigo existed as much as a metaphor as a literal monster with native mythology, with the concept described as an early depiction of social cannibalism, and applicable to any individual or idea would express a relentless drive towards unnecessary consumption and greed. In so doing, the story encourages cooperation and moderation and discourages the taboo activity of cannibalism during harsh winters, threatening the stability of a tribe's existence and exhibiting a destructive nature. The allegory coinciding with the ongoing eradication of native populations, the emergence of early consumer capitalistic society in North America is evident and telling, with the violent and unnatural Wendigo symbolically representing the exclusion of forced assimilation experienced by disregarded natives via encroaching and expanding American colonialism in the pursuit of manifest destiny. I could never say that sentence ever again in my entire life. That was a lot. Two-Face is a monstrous being who murders his victims with his razor-sharp elbows. Existing among Sioux Plains and Omaha tribes, Two-Face, also known as Sharp Elbows, is a two-faced monster who enjoys preying upon native populations, torturing and gruesomely disfiguring his victims before murdering them. As typically depicted in folklore, all who gazed upon either of the twin visage of Two-Face became paralyzed by fear, or in any case, die instantly, and he utilizes his extreme sharp elbows to stab his frozen victims to death. As with several Native American monsters, Two-Face is widely considered to retain a preference for children and female victims, especially pregnant women. According to the Lakota mythology, Two-Face was once a woman who was turned into a creature as punishment for attempting to seduce the sun god, with one beautiful face and one hideous. An alternative origin story includes a similar background of blight, with Two-Facing being born from such an adulterous woman. This duality, as with several native stories seeking to impact the didactic lessons, is widely regarded as representing a disconnection from a disharmony with nature, as an allegorical advocation of traditional conformity within the tribe. Jeez, you know what that means. Don't go looking for stuff you ain't supposed to. The perverted merman hides in rivers and watches women as they bathe. All right. We just going to skip over that one. That's so stupid. Similar to the Wendigo, the Witchooge is a giant cannibalistic monster from northwestern Canada. A Witchooge, or Witchooge, similar but not identical to a Wendigo, is a cannibalistic monster stemming from the stories of the Athabascan people of northwestern Canada. According to legend, the Witchooge is a person who has become possessed or overpowered by the spirit of a great animal, in so doing devolving into a giant bestial form. Some version of the Witchooge depict the creature as being physical, made from ancient ice, come to life to hunt humans, invulnerable to harm, and only defeated when melted over a campfire. Jeez. The rendition of the Witchooge is notably similar to that of Wabanaki's Chinoo, an ice giant who cursed by the gods for his crimes. His heart turned to ice and his spirits trapped inside a troll-like monster that feasts upon humans. Describes as giant animals, both intelligent and physically powerful, the Witchooge hunts humans and attempts to ensnare and devour its prey through a cunning deception. Jeez. As with the Wendigo, certain tribes adhere to a less spiritual origin of the creature, but instead a product of human indulgence in taboos, resulting in the physical corruption of the depraved individual. The Danzai of the Peace River region in West Canada, for instance, contend a Witchooge is the product of breaking a strong cultural taboo, such as having a photograph taken with flash, listening to guitar music, or eating meat with fly eggs in it. What the fuck? Who would do that? The underwater panthers lived in the Great Lakes and could control the water of their domains. The Mishibiz, what the heck? Also known as the underwater panther or great lynx, is a legendary creature belonging to mythologies of native inhabitants of the Great Lakes region of North America. A monster from the underworld, the panther resides in creeks and rivers, hiding in wait to drown unsuspecting prey. Described by the Sioux as possessing a body shaped like a buffalo, albeit with paws allowing for rapid swimming, the Mishibis, sounds like you're trying to say Mitsubishi, but it's not that, had just one eye, horns either side, either a single horn in the center of its forehead or a pair, dorsal fins, a spiked tail, and is covered in scales. Because of the later characteristics, it has been speculated that the Mish is in fact derived from prehistoric Stegosaurus. Feared by Ojibwa as the cause of waves, whirlpools, and rapids, it was considered within tribal folklore that each lake might be inhabited by its own, who controlled its conditions despite being mortal enemies of the Thunderbirds. Some native communities revered the creatures as a symbol of great power and hunting prowess, while at least one tribe fearlessly employed the Mish as part of children's games similar to tag. According to ancient Chippewa tale, they lived on an island of mud situated between two lakeside villages, avoided by local for fear of an evil spirit. Two girls crossing one day encountered the monster, cutting off the beast's tail with an oar. The severed limb transformed into a solid piece of copper and became a talisman for good luck in fishing and hunting for their tribe. So basically, pretty much all these, I guess, when you read into them, they're all basing all of this off of the way people are acting, I guess, or your reasons for seeing them, I guess, is like you're going against something, like whether it be for cannibalistic or everything happened for a reason. So people get sacrificed, or people get murdered, or famine, or whatever it is, and then all these things, these bad things would always happen back at the time. And you don't know if the spirits, that was my finger. And you don't know if these spirits came from that or respond because of that. I mean, it is very interesting to hear the different styles and all over the country. That's so crazy how it's all over the country. Of these different Native American tribes that have all these different kinds of beasts or animals or spirits or demonic or serpents or whatever it is. They have all these different things that are just either someone's seen it or being terrorized by it, or it's just pretty crazy. I mean, it all is pretty crazy. But other than that, we'll see how all of this sounds when I put it together. I mean, I hope it sounds all right. If not, at least the audio part of it. But the second part of the video seems to have worked out pretty good. But other than that, we'll just try and work out the kinks with this laptop and, try and pump them out and get them done whenever possible. But other than that, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all the new subscribers, all the people who continue to watch, support, like, comment, all that stuff. I mean, I do appreciate all you guys. And I will see you guys and catch you on the next one. Take care.